difficulties, so I don't know if I'm breaking or splotchy. I'm just gonna roll with it, and then after it buffers or not buffers but render, I see what I'm looking at. Man, we just went through a little thing, but anyway, back to what we hear. To this lovely, very beautiful, highly educated, never duplicated sister, Professor Deborah Calhoun. How you doing?
Hey, brother, how I'm good.
You breaking up.
Audience out there.
Say that again. You was breaking up.
I said good morning to both you and the audience this morning.
Hey, listen, man. Yeah, you supposed to have been coming on last week, but that's when YouTube themselves kind of put the shackles on what we were doing. But
man, they're always a party pooper.
Yeah, they are. So tell everybody before we go any further.
Yes, I am an adjunct professor at Kent State University in the Department of Africana Studies, where I diligently change young, aspiring minds to be bigger, greater, and better.
Well, you know what? So let's just talk about something that that you brought up a little bit. You brought up the Emitt Till situation. Let's just go in on that for a second. Go ahead, tell me what you said.
Yes.
Let me know.
Yeah, let me get to a window so hopefully my words will be a little bit clearer.
You sound clear right now. Yeah.
Okay, let me stop moving right here. All right. But, Carolyn Dunham, she was the wife of Milam, one of the accusers or one of the criminals who murdered Brother Emitt Till when he was visiting family in Money, Mississippi back in 1955. All on the accusation of a woman who said, he's the one that accosted me in the store, made a lewd comment to me, and touched me. So Becky Tears got that brother killed. We know the story. We know Sister Mamie Till, the mom, had her son's casket open in Chicago. 55,000 plus people attended that funeral. And that's one of the things, along with the other injustices done to African folks back in the 60s or in the 50s, what set off the modern civil rights movement. That woman, that accuser, was supposed to have been served a warrant, but it wasn't. But it was found about, I think a couple of weeks ago, I do believe. It's out on the news wires this morning. And they are going to serve that warrant and track Becky down to serve due diligence in court. Mamie Till would have wanted it. Emitt would have wanted it. Sister Mamie went to her grave arguing for the case to be reopened and challenged because it was absolutely an injustice. And we know that the two men who killed Brother Emitt committed and confessed their crimes in the Look magazine interview, but because of double jeopardy, they could not be tried again. And they got, I think, $3,000 for their ratty little story.
Wow.
But justice will be served when they track that Dunham woman down and have her serve, even though she's 80 years old. I have no concern for that. She needs to serve her time.
Well, check this out. I'm gonna read a little bit of the article, the official article. Okay, check it out. A team searching the basement of a Mississippi courthouse for evidence about the lynching of a black teenager, Emitt Till, has found the unserved warrant charging a white woman in his 1955 killing, and Till's relatives who initiated the search want authorities to finally arrest her nearly 70-year-old. Wanted to arrest her nearly 70 years later. A warrant for the arrest of Carolyn Bryant Dunham, identified as Miss Roy Bryant on the document, was discovered last week inside a file folder that had been placed in a box. Okay, LaFleur County Circuit Clerk. What is going on? All these sales is popping in on my story.
Yeah, they're all in front of that article.
Yeah, where is it? Hold on. It just popped
flow
up.
Through it. So scroll down.
Oh, this is crazy.
They're all through there trying to throw you off track.
The same thing on article. Yeah, it just took my. Hold on, let me see.
The USA Today article.
Yeah, but anyway, go ahead. I can't even find it. When I find the click button, it has broken this whole thing up.
Yes, it is broken up by ads to throw you off. But the point here is Mamie reminding us that justice needed to be served. You know, even though there's no expiration date on finding the truth, I'm glad it's out. It was always accused and been out. And she confessed, if I remember, a couple of years ago, that it was a fake, phony story and that she was kind of trumped up to make it more egregious than what it was. Till did nothing to her, but the racism of the day, where you could be arrested for what they called eye rape back in the 1950s, is what shut Till down. And he didn't condescend. He didn't acquiesce. He was a young brother, 14 years old, barely turned 14, from Chicago. And I think, you know, he presented himself as just a young man of some vision and didn't kowtow and beg and cower. And that's what kind of ultimately got him killed, along with those Becky tears from his accuser.
Right. So listen, so can they press charge? What can happen out of this situation? If you read
I
the
think if
article,
they,
what they saying?
I read most of it, was finishing reading it this morning, and they can serve it. It is in proper form, from what I understand, and it was never served.
So
and they can consider it, from what I think I understand, new evidence in the case.
For the record, she's still with us, y'all.
Right.
That European lady is still with her. And I heard that she kind of confessed that she put some extra sauce on it to getting dealt with.
She did.
Is there some truth to that?
She did. Wow. She admitted, because I remember I presented in class the electronic version of her acknowledging that it was, you know, trumped up, added on to, extra sauce added on it, if you will, for the purposes of what the intent was. That that black boy, as they said, that did that talk, didn't back down. And Mo's right. I think a relative is the one who identified that from the pickup truck when it pulled up to the home early in the morning. Identified Till as the so-called person that committed the crime, but the voice was, from what the story says, had a lighter and resonance voice, lighter than a man's voice, is I think what the words in the article mentioned. A woman's voice who said, "Yeah, that's him." And you know, they snatched Till up the dead of night, crack of dawn, and we know the rest of the story. They brutalized him, shot him, tied a generator fan around his body, and threw him in a river.
Which is crazy. But that's just, and this was only 1955, y'all. A lot of people think it was further back, but that's just 1955. I got cousins old enough to be, that was old enough to hear that on the news.
Even though I was just born or would be born later, 6 months later, it still resonates, because I remember seeing a reprint body on the cover of Jet magazine.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's crazy. We all seen the infamous picture. Yes. We all know the history that his mom wanted society, the white dominant society, the Eurocentric society, and us as a whole. We already know how we usually look after those type of beatings and dealt with. But she wanted America to see. She wanted the world to see what's happening here in America. Is not, even though she was hurting herself going through it, but she said this is bigger than just him. This is happening to us. This is your baby too, right?
Absolutely, because we know that before Emmett Till, it was a young man named Sammy Young who was killed trying to use a restroom in the South about 4 months, I believe, earlier than the killing of Emmett Till.
All right. So just to recap real quick, they at the request of the family, I guess they were doing the search in the courthouse and found out that there was a real live warrant dating back to around 1955 to be served to the would-be eye pointer at her, like the girl that called the all hell loose on our young brother.
Yep.
And they found that, and now they're saying that they can possibly bring her up on charges. Man, this is pretty dope. I like this conversation. I love talking to you, but check this out. Enough of the doom and gloom. We got something about to take flight soon. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we do. The African American Cultural Festival is coming.
Hey,
July 23rd and 24th.
Hey, okay. Now, I was talking to Brother Carlton down there at the Reporter newspaper. He said he haven't gotten an ad for y'all yet. He told me to tell y'all to make that happen real quick so he can take care of y'all.
Oh, yep. I got a story in the works for the Reporter. It should come, if not this week's version, which I think is Thursday and too late for press. It will definitely be in next week's edition of the Reporter and the Reporter newspaper online.
Okay, definitely. Now let's talk about the African American Heritage Festival here in Akron, Ohio. It's been going on how many years now?
This is our 42nd year, so it's almost as old as I am and older than many who remember Lane Field.
Yes.
We can't go back to those days. We try to bring the spirit of it to Central Akron, where our taxpayer and tax dollars and time and effort goes into, to bring it to a centralized audience, given the kind of changes that have happened within the context of old Lock 3, Ward 3 neighborhood on Akron's west side.
Right. So how long have you been dealing with this festival intimately?
Oh, my goodness. I will have to say I had to, I want to say almost 19 years, maybe.
Word?
Yes, I think I first got involved. I used to attend the festival. I used to vend at the festival back when we were at the Sand Pile in West Akron. And I had an opportunity to work with, now passed on to the ancestors, Ken McClinic, and folks like Gerald Carter, that, we acknowledged during Juneteenth just a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the older folks who came out of the MBIP generation, that is the National Black Independent Political Party, they decided to do some work here in Akron, doing the same kind of things that were going on in Youngstown, that was going on in Detroit, and in all major Black meccas across the United States. That is African festivals in a localized kind of way. And I got involved. I remember first, taking a rake with a bunch of volunteers and pulling it through the glass, through the sand at the sand pile, because that's what they used to call Lane Field, the sand pile.
Mm-hmm.
And just to make sure kids wouldn't get cut on glass, and we clean up the park. And we remember that open air venda area that they used to have the festival in the circle there. And we had a chance to just start working on it. And I jumped in almost with both feet without even testing the depths of the water. And who knew I would still be around to continue the legacy from Fred Johnson, Roy Hodo, John Fuller, Isatu Sagni that lives in Columbus, I think right now, E.C. Bryant. All of us chipped in and did this because it was a community festival.
Man, you know what? One thing about the one you guys do here, it's one of the biggest, dopest ones in Ohio. It is the second
oldest 2-day event. Second oldest to that, what was used to be practiced in Youngstown, because we took our marching orders from Youngstown, where MBIP had a headquarters. Ron Daniels lived in Youngstown. I'm trying to think of who else who was there. A lot of labor and community organizers set it off there, and we took our lead from them, having it community-based, intergenerational, free as much as possible. And we did it for almost 15 years without any support. We would just pool money together and ask folks to come. Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you help us do A, B, and C? And folks did. And who knew?
Now, for some of the people who may not be familiar with a African Fest for short, tell them what the grand thesis, what's the motive, and why we do this African Fest every year.
Well, the motive for this is that we should begin to we should have processes to self-educate ourselves. We should have processes where we see our talent on stage, where we see our youth on stage. We used to have a parade when we were at Lane Field. We're hoping to try to bring some of that back for next year's celebration, as Lock 3 is being rehabbed, if you will, to be bigger and better. Um, but I think that it is an attempt for several things, not only just the educational piece to take place, but we've also added, through the help of Lee Boyd and Steve Arrington and folks who are on the Health Pavilion Planning Subcommittee, to help bring health providers and service organizations to the fore that serve our community. And what is good about that is that our Health Pavilion has been key in identifying early stages of sickness and illness in order to put folks in position to take advantage of the recovery part of that, be it mammogram, be it diabetes, be it AIDS, HIV, be it lead paint, be it high blood pressure, heart disease, all of these things are comorbidities, issues that affect the African community more than other ethnic groups. They've been identified at the festival and been put in position to follow through with their health providers to get wellness and treatment. So we do that. We've also, with the help of, if folks remember Jackie Garrett from the West Side, she helped do our youth pavilion. And that was just free arts and crafts and whatnot for the kids. It has now blossomed into a backpack starter pack giveaway for kids going back to school in the fall. This year's event, adding to and have added to for at least the past couple of years, of having free haircuts by Beyond Expectation Barber College.
Okay.
Brother Eric up on Romick Road, his staff does an awesome job in doing fly cuts and fades for anybody and everybody who wants to sit in their chairs.
Listen, and not only that though, so let's like I'm a huge fan of this thing. I love it. I just love the fact that here in Akron, Ohio, we have culture in here, and we got people like yourself that's spearheading and everything. So I'm just blessed to know you, Mrs. Calhoun, for real. That's dope. But tell somebody what type of gifts, goodies, and trinkets and past ceramics. What type of stuff is going to be available to buy? How's the vending?
Well, we hope to bring our bank of vendors who participate, everything from clothes to jewelry to incense to candles to fabric to artwork to chessboards to any kind of artistic expression, paintings, anything that you could put in your walls or your halls or your closets or your shoes or feet and body, you'll be able to find at this year's event. We have a loyal group of funders and donors who help contribute, who help support some of our past legacy donors in that regard to help us make this event as free as possible in the center of Akron, have graciously donated their efforts and times and research from Children's Services Board, the ADM Board, Eileen Shapiro's office, who's our county executive here in Summit County, Equitas Health Systems, who's helping support the health initiative. We have folks also supporting Alpha Phi Alpha. We're doing this year a youth teen talk, because we want our youth to be involved in changing and transforming our city. So we're looking for youth to be part of our teen talk. We have incentives for those youth that participate both on stage and in the audience to respond to several key areas that are important to our community: violence, health, social service support in terms of mental health, and the arts in terms of where the youth can make a contribution to make our city safer and better. Because when our youth are safe, when our communities are safe, our city, as a result, becomes safer. Oh, and the city of Akron, of course, is our main sponsor, because we're in the heart of downtown Akron at Lock 3.
So, is it too late to be a vendor?
No, it is not. You can send an email to akronafricanculture@gmail.com. Our website should be up in terms of an update that is coming soon, within the next day or two, where you can download an application. We're also seeking and looking for food vendors, because you got to eat while you're there. And we've had vendors who, when I say they sold out of everything but the grease and the paper plates, they sold out of everything but the grease and the paper plates last year. Every vendor walks away to the good with this, because remember, this is about Black entrepreneurship, and all of those businesses I mentioned, be they arts, candles, clothes, shoes, incense, and or food, are part of the Black business enterprise of our city of Akron, and they benefit as a result of vending at our event.
Are we gonna have some? Since talking about food, we're gonna have some agusi soup and some fufu in there. This is an African fest, damn it.
I hope some folks bring some egusi soup because I love it. I'm looking for someone without having to do it myself, and I'm looking for my bean pie. I might have to do that myself.
Wait a minute, you can make egusi soup?
I can do egusi soup and I can do bean pie. I don't mess with fufu too much because I'm kind of nervous how to eat it, but it is
know
good.
How to
I've tried it.
Wow, wait a minute.
I'm
you
learning.
Make the soup. You put the okra in it and all that?
I put a little bit of okra on the side because me and okra don't get along.
Oh,
we neighbors,
how much would you
but
charge?
We're not friends.
How much do you charge for your egusi soup?
My egusi soup, it depends on how much you want. I usually, when you make a batch, it's enough to feed the room of at least 12 people.
What do you use goat meat for real?
No, we don't use goat meat. You can use chicken, you can use beef, or you can use fish. There is a goat soup, a goat curry, but that's for our Jamaican brothers and sisters to kind of cover that part of the dietary repertoire.
Oh, I just seen her shit eating some agusi soup. She had goat meat. She literally put
some can't, so some can. You can flip the protein any kind of way you need.
Oh, okay.
The soup is a base, and you can add protein you want.
I will prefer chicken. Okay.
You can have chicken. You can have fish. You can have beef or goat.
Yeah. So that I'm gonna need some of that. I'm gonna need some of that.
But I need to mention before we do get off the phone that Brother Kofi Boyate, one of our local Akron stars, will be performing on Saturday and Sunday, a little small piece of presentation. Sunday, we know we have our largest stage that is some more of our traditional kind of offering and fare. We have a gospel event happening with Just Love to Sing, and I'm trying to remember the other performers who are going to be there. But as they perform, we know that for our final act, Daz Band, they will be opened by the after party, and we know they bring the party.
Oh, yeah. Y'all got the after party down there?
We got the after party opening up for the Daz Band.
And
yes,
the Daz Band, let it whip. Let's whip it, baby. Let's whip it.
All of it. But we're trying to also use this as an opportunity, I will say, to grow bigger and better for next year, because we know we need to bring some of our female sheroes and hero performers to the stage. So we want to use next year to kind of highlight our women who are our cultural artists and performers.
Well, listen, man, we want to thank you very much. If somebody want to get involved and get connected with the African Culture Fest, the Akron Fest, the African Fest, how can they do that?
They can do that if they call my phone number. I'm giving out my personal phone number. Leave a message, please, because I get so many telemarketers. 330-836-1527 is my home number. Leave a message, speak slowly and clearly. Or you may also email us, the Akron African Culture at akronafricanculture@gmail.com.
Well, listen,
and I answer that email and I will shoot you out an application. We want young vendors, youngsters who are vending, businesses, young entrepreneurs. We need you there. We will make accommodation and space for you.
Well, that's dope. Listen, for the Grand Professor Deborah Calhoun, who teaches at Kent State, for the Reporter newspaperonline.com, and of course, Akron Hip Hop Mecca Media Entertainment. This your boy Hiram Hakeem. Y'all better film me before they kill me, but more importantly, you better have some fun and get something done today, all right? Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
You ain't got to go nowhere.